morning run. It's wet and rainy, but you know what's more annoying than that? My Apple Watch stopped tracking my workout like halfway through. So, and I didn't notice till like 3 miles out. I don't know whose apartment complex this is. I just found it and this is my turnaround point, I think. Very, very wet run. I'm trying to find a dry spot to see the color right here. That's the original color. This is the very, very wet run. So I got this question a couple of days ago, and I was thinking about it on my run today. And running and drumming have this thing in common, so I figured I would talk about it right now. Basically, it's the question was how do you stay consistent? And they were coming from like a practice like standpoint. And consistency is it's really the key and the glue to be successful in new endeavors and new routines. And I think especially this time of year when it's the beginning of the year, where everybody's doing new things and trying new things and changing different things that may not have worked in the past. I would argue that consistency is the one thing that can make or break of you being successful in whatever you're trying to do. And with drums, without consistency, there's no way I would be where I'm at in my career or just skill level or anything else. And the same thing goes for running or whatever else. You have to show up every single day, and you have to be consistent, because nobody's born knowing how to play drums. Nobody's born able to run 8, 9, 10 miles. It's all about showing up and putting the work in. But how do you actually do that? How do you stay motivated to be consistent? And I have a few tips that I do that help me, and they might help you too. The biggest thing that probably helped me be consistent and successful in things that I set out to do is having goals, but not only having goals, writing my goals down, like physically writing my goals down with a pen and paper. Having a smartphone is great. I use the Notes app all the time, but there's something about actually committing it to pen and paper, like in the act of like physically writing something down, that it just does something in your brain that it feels more substantial than just typing something that you can just delete. You can't delete pen and paper. I guess you could throw it away, but it feels more substantial. Grabbing the important thing. Hang on. This cup we got from a whale watching tour in, where were we at? Seattle? Mm-hmm. Seattle, Washington. We have the same cup at home, and it's honestly, there's nothing special about the cup. It's just, it's a really great, solid cup, and it's honestly one of my favorites that we have at home. There's literally nothing special about it. We're at Home Depot because my mom needs something for her house. I think it's a flapper for one of the toilets, or I think. To be honest, she told me and I didn't really listen all that much. We're looking for a specific flapper for the toilet. You know, woodworking and stuff like that's something that I've always wanted to. Woodworking is something I've always wanted to like get into. I did take a workshop class in like middle school, but the bench I made wasn't great.
Nice to meet you, man.
So nice.
I think this is a standing desk on wheels.
That's awesome.
We're donating stuff to Goodwill.
I got to wait in the car because they took the last load.
That wasn't so bad. Very wet though. What? No, I'm driving, I guess. Where am I going? addition to the list and like setting goals and everything else, there's a fine balance between wanting to make forward progress and also allowing yourself time to like process and to grow. In my experience, progress is really done in cycles or seasons. Some seasons or cycles being I'm really improving really quickly, and then some seasons I'm not improving much. Not because I'm not putting any effort in or not being consistent, just for some reason or the other. It may just be a more difficult thing that you're working on, or just there can be a whole slew of them. So giving yourself grace and patience while still working and being consistent is important. I have to remind myself of that a lot. Honestly, as long as you do those two things, being consistent, and then also if you're not improving as fast as you want, giving yourself grace, I think if you do those two things consistently, you'll do whatever you set out to do. It may not and probably won't be as fast as you'd like it to be, but eventually you'll get there. At least that's something that I have to tell myself on a regular basis. Both drums, video, running, just everything. Like it says on I have this tattoo on my wrist that says "Enjoy the journey." Life is a journey, as cheesy as that sounds, and it's important to remember that you have to enjoy it. And okay.
The only thing in there is that blue tinge. I just don't want that on me.
Does the flapper work?
Don't know.
The maintenance man for our hotel finally came out and is fixing our broken toilet. Right? What are you doing? She sat down next to me and she's pricing vacations out for her birthday. Her birthday's not till August. Mine's before yours.
You already know where you're going.
So I'm sitting down editing this video, and somebody asked, which I've answered this question before, but people keep asking it, and it changes every other month depending on how much money I'm allowed to spend or not spend. But the question was, what camera setup do I use? And the current setup is going to be a A7S III for the body, and then this is a 16-35 f2.8 G Master lens with a Sony ECM B1M microphone. And basically that microphone is their microphone, and the cool thing about it is it doesn't require a microphone jack. So like if you look on the side, there's literally no microphone cable whatsoever. It's all like on this digital interface. And the audio snob in me, the reason that that's cool, it's digital audio versus analog audio, and the reason that that's significant, from my understanding, is there's no real noise floor like there is analog. So if you ever plug a camera microphone in and the gain isn't set correctly, you're gonna hear like a hissing. That's gonna be the noise floor. And with this, the noise floor isn't really, I've never heard it. I've jacked the audio up like 40 dB and highly compressed it and didn't hear any noise floor. So that's the current setup. I'm sure it'll probably change next month, maybe. We actually do have some camera upgrades that I do want to do, and since it's January and we're self-employed, that means tax write-offs. So I was going through my old Instagram videos, and I found something that I actually wanted to talk about today because I think it kind of goes with this video and practicing and consistency and that whole thing. Okay, so this video was, the video itself took a couple of days to actually learn, and just because it was something that was kind of out of my comfort zone, it was more gospel-y, and for me at the time I hadn't played any kind of gospel stuff, and I heard this and I had to learn it, and I wanted to learn it note for note. I didn't want to like kind of just do my own interpretation of it. I wanted to actually learn from it, just purely because I knew that I would gain a ton of stuff from it, and it would help my playing overall. And honestly, after learning it, looking back, it probably had one of the biggest impacts on my playing now and influencing like how I construct fills and grooves and all that stuff. So with that, let's watch it together. Hi-hat and ride thing influenced a ton. Really cool. that stuff with the fills like starting not on one, that alone had such a big impact on how I felt fills. Starting fills with kick drums, never did that before this video. Alright, so it's only a minute long. It didn't take it wasn't a lot of playing, but the fills in there, like starting drum fills on something besides the one, like the E or the or even the and of the measure before one, never did that before, and that's one of the reasons why it took so long. Starting fills with kick drums, I had never even thought about that or even tried doing that until I learned the drummer's name is Chris Strotter in the video, but I never had even like learned any of that stuff before I learned what Chris Strotter did, like note for note. And basically what I'm trying to say in not so few words is learning things and like growing in whatever you're trying to do is gonna be honestly not very fun. It's gonna be painful and it's gonna stretch you, and that's just, if you think about when you were a kid and you were like growing, you would have like literal growing pains, and it's because your body is changing and all of that stuff. Learning a new skill is no different. You're changing, you're adapting, and it's gonna be painful, it's gonna be difficult, but at the end, it's hopefully gonna make you better at whatever you do and just make you better as a person overall. And looking back on that video, I remember the struggle. I remember like how many times I just wanted to just forget it. Nobody's even gonna know if I don't post this video, or it's not gonna matter. It doesn't matter whatsoever. I literally was just learning it for my own growth and everything else. It wasn't for a gig or anything else. I had no pressures besides myself to learn that. But I'm so glad that I did, because my playing would not be the same without learning something like that. And there's so many other instances where I had done that and I've seen like growth from it. But that was just one that I happened to come across today, and I'm kind of glad I did. So, okay, I will see you guys tomorrow. Oh, and before I forget, if you want to see more of these videos, hit the like button and feel free to hit the subscribe button. I'm doing 5 days a week, and yeah, I'm loving it. Monday through Friday, and yeah. Okay.